Yeah, I want to ask you just about what you've learned from Javon Holland. I know you keep up with the NFL and see what he's doing there. Just talk about what you think about him and what you learned from him while he was here at Oregon.
What I think about him, that's my guy. Like that's since I got recruited here, we had always been in contact, and that's kind of why our relationship was so strong here. And we were inseparable. We had the YouTube channel. We talk every day still to this day. And then one thing is, our dads were both coaches, so it was just easier for us. We understood the game mentally, and then just the physical side, always going over techniques or what we've seen from the quarterback, tight end, stances, alignments, all of that. So always bouncing ideas off each other, always trying to get better. And it was funny because I guess I talked to him before his game, of course, and after his game, I was like, I'm going to have to go one-up you. And so that's
So how often do you keep in contact with him on a week-to-week basis?
Every day. We talk every day still. So.
You made a point of shouting out Popo and Brandon on Twitter this morning. What have they done that led you to do that?
They're just guys who they may not make the tackle, but triple team. I saw Popo was getting triple teamed. Doyles gets a one-on-one. KT gets a one-on-one. We've seen Doyles get triple teamed. Then Popo gets the tackle. So two guys who, Five gets a lot of the attention because, he's a monster. But it was like two guys who have it all. They do everything. They have the pass rush. They have the ability to get off blocks, and they've just done a great job and create havoc for us, especially in the back end as well, with getting their hands on balls and things like that.
Is that something you're able to appreciate in game, or does it really have to be kind of more when you're watching film after the fact?
It's a little bit of both. You know when the quarterback's running around, guys up front are eating and doing a good job, and so that's why I'm always big on them and making sure the D-line gets some love because it's not just secondary.
What kind of Utah team were you expecting on Saturday?
One that's ready to play, a physical, good quarterback, good tight ends, Britton Covey, really good receiver who's been there for a while. So they're going to be locked and loaded. I'm sure the crowd's going to be into it. It'll be a good atmosphere. So they'll be ready to play for sure.
Cam Rising's effective in the air and on the run. How do you prepare for a quarterback like that? Is it just you watch the scheme and see what they're going to do, or do you anticipate it?
It's a little bit of both. For me in the back end, it's always tracking him no matter where he is, especially he gets out the pocket. And then from the D-line perspective, you want to kind of close the pocket so he sits more in the middle. He's not able to escape, make the run lanes tight, and that's pretty much how you kind of contain him.
Now, when he took over as QB1, Utah's obviously had much better success with him on their record. Do you guys even watch any of that game tape from that first 4 games of the year before he was QB1?
No, we've seen a little bit, but we kind of, you want to see the games that have happened most recently. He's done a good job. He really has taken over that team, and they really believe in him and trust him. You can tell he's the one that gets them going and keeps them rolling, so he's going to be a big impact this next year.
These two teams, you and Utah, are very similar and dominate the line of scrimmage, power run games. Just it seems like it's strength on strength type of deal of this week.
I feel like that's probably the best way to put it. Two teams, we're going to go at it. They're going to throw some shots. We're going to throw some shots. It's just about keep going, continue to keep fighting. Good, bad, ugly. I've always said it. Stay poised no matter what it is. I'm just going to keep going. And when, the horn's over, just want to be 1-0.
Your defense really seems like it's turned the corner the last few weeks. Just talk about what the difference has been recently and the ceiling potentially for this defense.
I would say we've gotten some guys back. That's been big, just getting guys back. And then the mental side, everybody's understanding this defense. System's still a little bit new. So, get into games, get into the flow of it. Guys get hurt. New guys coming in, so it's never really just set in stone. Now we have all those guys back. We're rolling, and then we wanted to be consistent. We said from the beginning of the year, why not us? Why can't we be the best defense in the country? Why can't we get takeaways? Why can't we do all this? Why not? And so we've taken pride in that, and we continue to just get better every day. We go to practice. We want to get better. Everybody's coming in, smiling on their face, ready to go, learn, and get better. So.
How much do you think that affected things? Trying to get used to a new scheme, and you guys just lost so many guys early on. Was that maybe more difficult to overcome than some people realize?
I would say the injuries were a little big just because, you had guys going down left and right. And when you see it, it's almost discouraging, but you realize you got to keep going and we got to get young guys ready to go. So now that we have depth, guys came back, we have young guys that are ready to go as well. So if somebody needs a breather, boom, we can throw a young guy in, he's ready to go. So I think that's helped us. And then we've just continued to understand football. Our coaches have done a great job of just understanding concepts, leverages, how the defense works and how to play good team defense, which has allowed us to play these past few games really good at all 3 levels. And not just the D-line did well, but the secondary didn't play that well. Or the linebackers did good, but the D-line was all playing in unison, and that's what's helped us.
There's so many young guys Boss, Keith Brown come to mind, who probably wouldn't have gotten much of a shot this season if those injuries hadn't happened. Obviously, injuries are never a good thing, but do you think it's helpful for the depth, obviously, to have some of those guys get thrown into the fire like they did?
Definitely. Football is a developmental sport, so for them to be in Ohio State first game they really played, and they're playing on one of the biggest stages out there, it helps them out. So I think that's helped them continue to progress, and it'll just help them in the long run as well.
How important has Jordan Happel been to this team? Because he didn't play much earlier on in the year. Now he's starting and playing and making big plays, it seems like, almost every game.
Hap is another guy that's similar to me that really understands football, and he's basically like a coach on the field. So when we're able to play together, it makes things a lot easier for everybody else, because we're going to stay on top of everything. We're efficient in tackling, we're efficient in coverage, and we understand everything that's going on. So we don't need for Coach Yates to have to yell something out. We see it, address it, get it to everybody else, and we can move on. And that's what he's huge. He's a Swiss Army knife. He knows all the positions. He knows the entire defense as well. So he's been huge.
The weather on Saturday looks, I guess, chilly compared to here. Going to be, I think, a low of like 35. Do you guys, I guess, alter your game plan because of the temperature? Is that something mentally you have to get over? I mean, I know the weather's the weather, but...
No. I mean, it's different when it rains or it's like wet outside, but just cold, hot, that doesn't really affect us as much. So,
Johnny mentioned the other day that you and him are sort of in charge of picking the uniform combinations each week. Can you take me through that process, and like how much creative freedom do you have there?
So it kind of started back in the spring when we kind of get our uniforms together, what helmets we like, what uniform combinations we like. Figure that out. We've had meetings with Nike, do that, and then once we get everything in, we make the final decisions, show coach, make sure he's good with it, and then me and Johnny went through and picked out just every uniform for each game, what we liked, what we thought would look good, and we wanted to keep switching it up. We knew what we had and wanted to switch it up, things that would pop, that would look better, comparing it to what another team would wear. So it's just having fun with it, something that we like to do. We always want to look good as well. You look good, you feel good, you play good.
White helmets and white pants doesn't happen at home here
It hasn't happened in a while.
quite often.
Basically, the inspiration for that was the 2014 championship. We were like, we like that uniform, so we're going to try to do it. And we did the black one earlier in the year, so we like to do it with white. So,
Any other inspirations from that team?
another team kind of has a similar story to ours, so it's almost like a tribute.
Are there combinations that you guys just had to leave on the cutting room floor that you wish could have seen the light of day?
No, I wouldn't say that. I feel like we've done a good job. We got some heat coming this week.
Are you guys usually in agreement pretty well on what you
Oh
guys
yeah, we've had some arguments before. We've had some arguments, me, Cruz, and Kenny and Johnny, but for the most part, it's been pretty good.
What if one of your teammates doesn't like it, or they tell you, I guess, they have a different style than yours? How do you take that criticism?
We have that issue sometimes, and then they'll put it on and be like, oh, okay, it looks good, So
Do we get any hints for this weekend?
we'll have some type of white on. That's it.
You ever want to do that? Post career, I know you want to get into commentary too, journalism, but
Open to it. Come holla at me.
multiple careers?
I mean, the reason I said is because Tim Day, who played tight end here, is a big Nike guy and designing shoes and stuff like that. Is that kind of why you get involved? Is it can maybe open the door down the road?
Definitely. Some testing gloves, cleats, understanding what I like, things from the past that we could bring back. And then I like shoes off the field, just style. And I have my other account where I like to put things on there. So that just goes into it as well. Versatile.
How did it come about that you and Johnny were the two that choose?
We're always in Kenny's office, just in there chilling. And we have some, swag on the field. So we're like, we can just do it.
Right.